Welcome back to Age of Empires 2. Last time, we finished the William Wallace learning campaign. And this time, well, technically I'd want to go on to the rest of the main game's campaigns. However, there's something that I want to do first. You see, there are quite a few skills that the game doesn't quite show you in the tutorial campaign, and also I'd just like to show off how a random game goes. Because, let's face it, the Battle of Stirling was relatively small by those standards, and there are a few more features that aren't really detailed very much in the tutorial, so we're going to go ahead and click Single Player here, and go to Standard Game. Now, interestingly, don't mind these settings, these were there from when I last played a random map game. Anyway, basically, in the vanilla Age of Kings version of this game, every subtype of normal single-player game actually had its own button on the menu. So, Random Map had one, Deathmatch had one, Regicide had one. This time, yeah, starting with the Conquerors expansion, they're all put under one thing called Standard Game. And I'm just going to go ahead and explain all of these settings, because I believe these are the exact same, well, mostly the same things that are used in multiplayer as well. Anyway, you see here, this is my player name there, and then you get to select your civilization from a drop-down menu. Now, I've been kind of tossing up what civilization that I wanted to use for this first random map. Whether to actually, you know, go with one that isn't really showcased that much in the campaign, such as the Goths, or one whose speech I understand, like the Japanese, or in the end, I think I'm going to go ahead with the one that holds the most nostalgia value for me. For some reason, and I really can't understand why, I don't know why, I actually still can't explain it. For some reason, whenever I played random map games as a kid, the civilization that I always used to use was the Turks. And again, I can't quite explain why I did, but anyway, I'll talk more about how the Turks work exactly once we get into the game proper. They're a fairly interesting civilization with regards to what they specialize in. And here is your player number. Now, you can select any player number you want, and this determines your starting position on the map and your color. Yes, in campaign mode, you get a preset color, but in multiplayer and single player, well, not so much multiplayer, but in single player games, you can choose what color you want, and there's actually quite a lot to choose from. You can have the standard blue, red, green, yellow, sort of cyan-y light blue thing, purple, white, and orange. I always used to think orange was really cool, so I'm going to go with that. Now, team, this only makes sense if you have multiple players. So, for example, if I went and added an extra player, let's say for some reason it resets my number back to 1, but that's beside the point. Anyway, let's say I wanted to have allies. Let's say I wanted the first computer player here to be my ally. What I do is, I put myself as I set a number for my team. You can have up to 4. Question mark means you'll be put on a random team when the game begins. If everyone chooses that, that's probably going to lead to some very unbalanced games if a lot of people get teamed up on the same side. Anyway, if I set myself as Team 1, as long as I set one of the other players to the same team number as me, then we will be allies when the match starts. So that's how you have allies. Now, I don't think you can really start the game if you have everyone as allies. I don't think that actually, makes sense. A dash there indicates no team. That means that you're not allied with anyone, so you're going to be basically enemies of everyone. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and actually put the other players back to 1, because I'm just going to show off a regular 1 versus 1 game, just, you know, for the sake of simplicity. For their civilization, it's kind of funny, but when I was a kid, I always put myself against the Celts. I don't know why, I just kind of did. But, you know what, I'm just going to put them on randoms, which is going to be interesting, but, yeah, I can't really choose a topical opponent here, but anyway. Now, here we have game type. There are actually several different types of games, and all of them are actually really different. Later on, I'm going to put together a very brief video covering each of the different types of game and how they're different. But the standard game is random map. Basically, this lets you win by the standard victory conditions, which I'll cover later, lets you choose a couple of other settings, and basically just is pretty much a normal game. It's called random map, not because the actual map itself is random, but because the general layout of the map is random every time. Just, where all the resources are, where certain land features are. Yeah, there are I'll explain about the map later. Turbo Random Map, I believe, was newly added in the HD edition. Basically, this is random map, but everything is faster. So, villagers gather faster, build faster, carry more buildings, create units faster. Now, at first I was thinking, for the ease of making just a quick-to-follow video on this, I might want to choose this. However, I am a little worried about what the AI could potentially do with faster resource gathering. That kinda scares me, given that yes, like always, AI does tend to cheat in every game it's in, even RTS games. Regicide, actually the rest of these I'm not going to cover until a bit later. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and do Turbo, if only because I don't have the achievement for beating a Turbo random map yet, so might as well get that out of the way. Map Style. Yes, we can choose between Standard, Real World, or Custom. Yes, and it says down here at the bottom, on a Standard map, you basically choose a regular map type. Where is it? Here it is, yeah, location. You basically choose a description of a general description of an area, like islands. And it'll generate a map that basically fits that vague description, but most of the layout of it, and where all the resources are, and even the weather sometimes, like there are snowy maps and desert maps and other things like that, will be random. Real World, you can choose from a map that represents a real-world location, like Britain, Central America, Norseland, Sea of Japan. It's just kind of funny. Texas, I believe, is an Easter egg because I think the studio that developed this game is based there. But anyway, you can choose one of these. Now, these maps are based on real-world locations, and as such, they are always the same. Think of it like playing one of the preset maps in Advance Wars multiplayer. Basically, the map is always the same and will never change. It's always laid out exactly the same. So that's what real world is. For now, I'm just going to go with standard. And for location, well, there's a huge variety of map types, and all of them have, some of them are really interesting. Like, you got Arabia, which is, yeah, again, mostly desert. Sparse vegetation or water, that means you'll have little wood resources here. Whereas Black Forest is basically an enormous forest that's pretty much a maze of trees, and, yeah, you're never going to run out of wood there. But it can be tricky to explore, given there are trees everywhere. And there's a whole bunch of other things. Some of them are really cool as well, like Gold Rush, which basically has like 90% of all the gold in the map is all heaped right in the very middle. So that leads to some interesting strategies where yeah, there's going to be a lot of really intense fighting over that gold, let's just say. And the other one that is really interesting is Nomad. Nomad is completely unique in that it starts you without a town centre and just a bunch of scattered villages. And in that one, you basically have to run around for a little bit and find a suitable location for a town yourself, and then build a town centre, and then you can actually get started. That one is very interesting, but you'll have to watch out for running into your enemies, because the scout cavalry can be kind of deadly to isolated villages in that kind of map. Anyway, I am going to go ahead and choose the one map type that I generally played the most as a kid. This one holds the most nostalgia value for me, and it is still one of my absolute favourites. Fortress. You'll see how Fortress is different from most other map types when we begin. I'm going to put the map size on tiny just to make exploring a little easier. Basically, yeah, it says they're the larger the map, the longer the game. Time-based victories actually take longer on larger maps. That's usually to account for there are generally more players and these kind of things. Now, when it says the number of players here, it's not actually fixed. You can actually you can actually very easily have, let's say, 8 players all on a tiny map. It's just probably not going to work very well at all. Yeah, I would not recommend doing that. Whereas you can have just 2 players on a giant map, but, well, you're going to take forever to actually find each other. But anyway, difficulty, easiest, standard, moderate, hard, hardest. I'm going to go ahead and put this on standard. The lower difficulties are actually extremely easy, and you can pretty much just have free reign to play around just however you want in the lower difficulties, because the AI will very rarely do much against you, and that's how I pretty much taught myself the game as a kid, just playing on the lowest difficulties. Other players already shown that. Resources. We can choose to start with low, medium, or higher than normal resources. I'll just leave that on standard. Population. Now, this is the limit on the total population that you can have. Basically, yeah, you know how you need houses to support your population. There is still a hard cap on population that every player can have. That is called the population limit. Once you reach this, building more houses will not help you. You cannot get any more population than that. Now, in the original game, the non-HD edition, these were a lot lower. I don't even think you could. I believe 200 was the highest possible in the original game, and yeah, now we can go all the way up to 500 thanks to modern technology. But yes, if you're somehow following along with this on the original CD-ROM version, really don't set the population level too high, because the computer will probably not be able to handle it. I mean, the game won't really be able to handle it. Reveal map. This is interesting. Normal is basically what you've seen in the campaign so far. Most of the map is black, and you have to explore to reveal it. Explored is actually what I used to do as a kid all the time. Explored is... think of Explored kind of like a Fog of War mission in Advance Wars, let's say. In Explored, everything in the map is already explored, but it's covered by fog. You'll still need to explore to find where everyone is, but you can see everything on the map to start with. All Visible has basically the same effect as typing Marco and then Polo in the cheat window. Basically, whole map's revealed, and no fog whatsoever. That is a good thing to look at if you want to just watch the computer player and watch how quickly they develop, and believe me, they can be pretty scary sometimes. But anyway, starting age. Now, I'm really not sure why standard is a separate option from dark age, because standard just starts you in the dark age. Basically, you can choose an age to start in. Yep, you can actually, have a different starting age. Now, as it says there, if you choose a particular starting age, the game will act as if you have automatically researched every upgrade and technology and thing available in all previous ages. So if I start the game in the Feudal Age, I will already have all Dark Age technologies researched. I used to actually start myself in the Feudal Age when I was a kid because I found the Dark Age too boring, but I'm going to stick with the standard here. You might be wondering what Post-Imperial Age is. Post-Imperial Age makes you start in the Imperial Age with every technology and upgrade already applied to you. So that's basically for a no-nonsense... if you don't want any hold-up, no researching, no delays, no nothing, just get straight to the action. That will, your army will already be fully upgraded right from the very beginning, so... that can be interesting, but for now I'll just keep this on standard. Victory, yes. We can choose between one of these victory conditions. Standard has 3 victory conditions. Either destroy all enemies, control all relics, or build a wonder and have it survive for a certain amount of time. I am going to go on to standard mostly because, well, one of those types of victories we have not seen so far. I'm pretty sure you can tell what it is. And I want to show that off because it's something that you will need to know going into the campaigns. Because wonders are involved in a few scenarios and the tutorial doesn't teach you about them. Conquest basically is just screw any diplomacy, screw non-violent victory conditions, just kill everyone to win. Good if you, well, like killing things. Time limit is interesting. This means the player or team with the highest score when time runs out wins. Score? Well, we'll find out more about that once we actually see the post-match results screen. You get points not just from killing things, but also from gathering resources, from researching, from building, from doing just about everything. Basically, this means whoever has built up their civilization the most within the time limit wins, though attacking other players is still helpful, both to reduce their score and to help yours. And score is the first team or player to achieve a specific score limit that you set wins. So, those are interesting. Now, I've got a couple of options here. Team together basically means that players on the same team are more likely to start close to each other. That's helpful if you want more cooperation between allies. Locked teams means that you are not allowed to change or break alliances during the game. This is usually a good option to choose. Of course, things can get quite funny when, yes, you can actually turn on your allies if you want, and we're actually going to need to know how to do that in some later scenarios in the campaign mode. But basically, if you don't choose locked teams, you can actually freely change one of your allies to an enemy whenever you want. They may not do the same to you, though. And that leads to some very interesting situations. I can probably spend a whole video talking about how diplomacy works in this game, because let's just say, if you set another player to ally, they might not be mutual with you, and that will lead to a weird situation where their units will attack you on sight, but your units won't defend themselves because you've set them to ally. It's kind of funny. All text basically means that this is like a, it takes away all the uniqueness of civilizations and lets everyone research everything. I personally don't like this. Record game basically, gives you a replay of the game that you can replay at your leisure whenever you want. Considering I'm already recording this the hard way, I'm not going to need that. So, I think we've pretty much set everything. So, let's get to it. Yeah, every civilization has their own mini riff that plays when you select them for a game. It's actually quite interesting. Oh, and hey, it looks like we've got a snow map this time. Now, we already have farms. That's actually really interesting. I did not realize that. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on food gathering duty immediately. We start with 3 villagers, who all seem to be female this time, and a scout cavalry. I'm going to get my scout cavalry to explore a little, but you'll notice that we don't actually need to explore that much, because this is what makes the fortress map type so unique. We already start with a fully walled city, and a couple of all the buildings we really need to get started. We've already got towers to defend ourselves, we already have a barracks as well, and a couple of houses. I really like this map type because, well, for a few reasons. 1, it discourages early rushing, and 2, well, it's... Okay, I must admit, I really have a soft spot for heavy fortifications. I love castles, and I love defense. Oh, wow, I just sounded like Byron there. I love defense! But yes, I love defense, and that's why I like this type of map. So, yeah. However, the resources within your own walls won't last you forever, so eventually you will need to expand outside the safety of your city. But for the time being, you know what, just to speed things up a little, I'm going to build a mill here. Yes, we don't quite have enough buildings to advance to the next age just yet. We've got a barracks already, but the towers and walls don't count, so we need a mill. We do need that because something I didn't mention before, the mill is actually a prerequisite for a lot of later buildings. It's a prerequisite, I believe, for the markets, and for farms, which we already have a couple of here. Okay, as long as a villager isn't gathering from them, those farms won't disappear, so we can save them for a little later. Anyway, you might notice, though, that our walls are a little broken up by this forest here. We don't want to chop that down. In fact, I don't think there's anything safe to chop down at this point. So this poses an interesting dilemma. This forest right outside... Okay, actually, that's still connected too. Alright, this is interesting. My scout cavalry is going to have to go and try and find a forest outside our walls, which is going to be kind of dangerous, that I can safely chop down without worrying about... Oh, I found a boar. Okay, this here is a wild boar, or 2 boar. Okay, that's actually really cool. Boar are a huntable animal that give a very large amount of food, so it's always nice to try and go for them when you can. However, unlike deer, boar are dangerous. boar will fight back if you try and hunt them, and they actually pose a considerable threat to lone villagers early on. You want to use multiple villagers in taking out wild boar, because if you use just a single villager, they will kill them, trust me. Most players like to lure boar to their town centre as well. So anyway, I think I have enough food to start getting some more villagers. I'll get 5, and I'll put most of them on food duty to start with. Food and wood are your most important resources early on, as I've mentioned multiple times. While they're going ahead with that, I will get this scout cavalry to explore over there. Now, yes, again, I'm not the fastest, well, definitely not the fastest. I mean, you know, you've seen those crazy people who play StarCraft and brag about being able to do thousands of actions per second. Just, all that clicking and... Oh, I see we've got water here. That's interesting. I really cannot click that fast. It's part of the reason as well why I'm terrible at fighting games. But, no technologies to research there. But... I still kind of enjoy this game, but yeah, I'm nowhere near good enough to play this at a high level, really, because I cannot click fast enough. So, forgive me if I'm a little slow with, you know, clicking things and the like. I've watched, like, professionals play this, and they just... that mouse just flies all over the place, and they just... yeah, anyway. Aha! I found a relic! And so close to my town, too. This is another one of those reasons why you really want to focus on exploring as soon as possible. Aha, I think this forest is safe. I can very easily rebuild that wall there if I lose this, so I have a feeling that this here is going to be my wood source. There seems to be some water out here. Sometimes you will have water in fortress maps, not always, but anyway. Now, it's a very good thing that I found that relic, because, like I've been saying, you want to make sure that you... Oh, wow, I've already exhausted our forage bushes? Okay. Right. You are going to go on a dangerous assignment. Your mission, should you choose... Well, actually, you're not choosing to accept this because I'm doing it for you. Scout, keep scouting. Your mission that I have forced you to do is to lure that wild boar back... Okay, this is going to be tricky because we're going to have to somehow get it through the gates. That could be a problem. But... let's see if I can lure this boar back to our town centre. If I'm feeling particularly brave, I could try getting both of them. Okay, right. Now, stand back a little bit, and shoot. Now run! Run, 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 run! Get in the city, get in the city. Stay in the gate a little bit. Come on, boar, come on, boar. Get in, and it's in, it's in. Good, perfect. Now run back to the town centre, everyone. It's still going after that one. Oh, I think she's going to die, actually. Oh... Your sacrifice will not be in vain. Just get back to that town centre. Get back to that town centre. Yep, she's dead. And the boar is stuck there. Alright, that's close enough. Come on. Come on, get in there, get in there, get in there. Now, kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it, kill it. We must avenge nameless villager. Oh, it killed another one. Oh, wow, I better replace my villagers there. See what I told you about boar being pretty dangerous? Yeah. And it looks like I've found my enemy's city, so I think I'm going to explore around there a little bit, actually. Kind of weird. This map is partly snowy, partly not. By the way, snowy maps were actually introduced in the Conquerors expansion. Now, I can actually tell that this guy is using the Eastern Europe architecture. So, that means that he is... Let's go ahead and see what he is. I can actually spoil it myself if I go to the diplomacy settings, but I'm not going to for a moment. Let's click this. Aha! They're the Goths. Okay, that's interesting. Oh, I just gave them an unfair advantage. Now, this is kind of weird. Playing the Goths in a fortress map is kind of interesting, because normally the Goths cannot build walls or towers. They're a pure offense civilization, and they've got a water, way into their town. They are pretty much a pure... Oh, crap. Bad, 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 bad. Get out of there. Yep. Watch out for that tower. Again, the Goths are pretty much pure 100% offense. They cannot build walls or towers at all. So, and you've already hunted that boar, okay. You know what, because I don't really feel like losing any more to the other boar, I'm going to get you guys to start farming. Because of that, we're going to need a lot of wood, because we haven't really started on wood yet. Let's get some villagers, and send them here, where I will build a lumber camp and proceed to get some wood to my stockpile. yeah, earlier on it's mostly a game of... Oh, of course they hunted that boar so fast. This is Turbo. What am I thinking? Keep forgetting this is Turbo. They would not have hunted that boar that fast before, but seriously. Moment of silence for those 2 villager girls who so tragically lost their lives in an attempt to get that wild boar back to our town centre. A villager's life. Anyway, oh hey, some of them, the wood choppers are chopping that tree, okay. And chopping that tree, okay. So yeah, villagers do kind of have their own automated AI that is actually kind of, well, it got a lot smarter in the Conquerors, by the way. Oh, and hey, you're already there. So, build me a lumber camp right now and start on that wood chopping. And at this point, I reckon I can safely set the gather point for the town centre. Where are you? Here. Okay, good. We have 2 more. Oh, wolf. Okay, that wolf is a little too close to our villagers for my liking, so I'm just going to have to stay away from that. Wolves are quite dangerous in the Dark Age. Later on, not so much, but I can't believe we've got 4 boar near... Wow, that's actually a jackpot normally, but anyway. Oh, hey, there's our enemy scout. Okay, yeah, he is just scouting. Okay, now that we have... Okay, we don't have that much gold, though, but I want to focus on getting a good set of wood going, because once again, food and wood are the 2 most important resources earlier on. How many militia can I get? Oh, exactly 5, okay. Right, you know what, militia? You're going here, and I'm going to send you out to take that wolf down. Where'd that wolf go? I can see the boar there, but where's the wolf? Okay, if that wolf started going for the the enemy scout cavalry, I'm gonna laugh so hard. Oh, speaking of wolves, run, 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 run. Bad wolf, bad wolf, bad wolf, bad wolf. Stay. Good wolfie, good wolfie, good wolfie. Okay, now I've got to run over here. Okay, we've got enough villagers focusing on wood. Let's get 5 more. And go on to gold mining. Actually, a few more on gold. Ah, we're already running out of farms. Okay, you go back to that farm. We're gonna need what are you doing? You know what? Go over there. I don't want you accidentally chopping the. Where are my other wood gatherers, by the way? Where are you? I know you're there. Oh, hey, and 5 militia already. Okay, let's go over here. Scout's still scouting. We found some gold over here and a little bit of water, but let's just go up here. Oh, wow, we're really... Oh, this is interesting. Okay, so in Turbo, essentially, you guys go ahead and build a mining camp right there. And why the hell have I not started advancing to the feudal age? Oh, wait, it's because I'm creating more villages. Right then. Yeah, in Turbo, your farms exhaust themselves very, very quickly, and I really do not... What are you doing? Okay, go ahead and keep chopping. Okay, we've got a lot of... Okay, die, wolf, die. I don't want to risk that getting close to my villagers. Let's just club it to death. Goodbye, wolf. Speaking of clubbing things to death, military units can kill huntable animals, but you lose... It basically spoils all the meat, so... You basically can't get food from any animals if a military unit kills them. And you know what? I just realized that in Turbo you kind of need less villagers per each resource, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the rest of these villagers on farm duty. Speaking of farm duty... Do I have over 1,000 wood already? Seriously? Well, hey, that's the power of Turbo. And we have hit our housing cap, so... Build me some more houses. We've already got a good community going there, so house. We've already got a lot of wood, so I often like to build lots of houses at once just to sort of settle us for our housing needs. Anyway, they're all mining. You, why are you not in our main wood camp? And wow, these trees are going down fast. Yeah, that is the power of Turbo. Again, like I've been saying before. So you. Go scouting into that big, big black pit of unknownness. Whatever. Now. There we go. You build a farm and start farming. I would want more, but I'm going to go to the feudal age. And hey, we advance much faster as well. Eventually, this mill is going to really help with farm production because we can sort of start centering the farms around it eventually as well. You know what? A few of you... nah, not really enough to take out that. We could use these guys to explore, but I kind of am a little worried about these villagers considering they're outside the safety of our city walls, so I'm going to focus on protecting them. And our scout is scouting in here. scouting, still scouting, 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 scouting. And we're in the feudal age! Now you might notice that our buildings just changed, and I'm going to get wheelbarrow right now. Every civilization looks exactly the same in the Dark Age. In the feudal age though, you start seeing differences. Because I'm playing as the Turks, and I'm going to go straight to Men-at-Arms as well. Because I'm playing as the Turks, they are a Middle Eastern civilization, and as such, they get the Middle Eastern architecture set. Basically civilizations are grouped into various building sets, and that's what their buildings look like. Previously, we've only dealt with civilizations using the Western Europe set, because both the Celts and the Britons, they both use Western Europe. Eastern Europe is the one you see the Goths over here have. Eastern Europe looks a little bit different. They have sort of a more thatched look to their roofs and stuff. And yes, Eastern Europe are the Goths, the Teutons, the Vikings, interestingly, and interestingly enough, the Huns. But apparently the only reason they decided to make the Huns Eastern Europe is because, according to the developers, they stole their buildings from Eastern European civilizations, so that's why they use the Eastern Europe building set. And then, of course, there's also Asian, which is self-explanatory, and Middle Eastern. In the original Age of Kings, and you guys farm now. In the original Age of Kings, the Middle East architecture set actually had the most civilizations in it. I believe, off the top of my head, they are the Turks, the Saracens, the Persians, Turks, Saracens, Persians, and Byzantines, that's it. So they had 4. And everyone else only had 3, so for the Conqueror's expansion, they decided to add 1 new civilization to each set that wasn't Middle Eastern, because Middle Eastern already had too many. And they were, for Western Europe, they added the Spanish. I believe, yes, Western Europe was the Celts, the Britons, and the Franks. They're basically French. Eastern Europe was the Goths, Teutons, who were pretty much Germany, and Vikings. I mentioned them before, and I still forgot about them anyway. And Asian was Japanese, Chinese, and Mongols, that's it. And yes, they added 1 to each of the sets that only had 3. And another relic! Excellent! Good thing to find these as early as possible, because once we get to the Castle Age, we will need them. Speaking of which, we've got enormous stockpiles of resources, and we are not gathering stone. Why are we not gathering stone? You guys go on stone duty. And let's make some more soldiers. More men-at-arms and some spearmen. And let's send you all over there. Oh, speaking of military, you there, go ahead and deposit your gold, because we have some more military buildings we need to create. Yeah, there's an awful lot of stuff to do once we advance in age, so let's build an archery range and a stable. We probably really do need our archery range for the Turks, because that's something that's going to become really relevant later on. Also stable, because the Turks actually do have something pretty useful when it comes to cavalry, which we'll be again seeing later on in the Castle Age. Seems like Scout Cavalry's line of sight actually increases in the feudal age as well. Don't remember them seeing this far before. Or maybe they did, I was just missing it. A lot of cliffs here. Cliffs are interesting because archers firing from the top of cliffs actually do get an attack bonus against units below the cliff. So that's actually kind of cool. Nice attention to detail and extra strategy there. Archer range is done. You build me a stable now. We can also start building towers, and I can't believe we have not researched the farming technology yet. Okay. Oh, you build me another mining camp. And then start gathering stone. This thing's almost finished getting me an army. I'm probably going to need more. Actually, the Goths are mostly an infantry-based civilization, so I probably will not be. Also, yes, relics are big white dots on your map, so once you've found one, you'll pretty much know what they look like. And you'll pretty much know where they are. I'll research tracking here to increase infantry line of sight. Always kind of helpful when you've got the resources. I've probably got enough units. Well, normally I'd say I'd have enough units to mount a slight attack, but in Fortress, yeah. Generally speaking, there's no getting through those walls without siege weapons. And hey, speaking of attack, my guys are already running after that Scout Cavalry, who is probably, yeah. Anyway. Oh, I ran out of farms. Okay. Got more than enough to repair them all, though. always got to keep an eye on your farm queue in Turbo. I can get more Scout Cavalry, but I'm going to get just a couple of archers. Not that much, because... Whoa! What's happening there? Who are they chasing? What the hell? Oh, there he is. Okay, I think he's actually trapped. And we killed our enemy's scout. Yay! We have won our first victory against one man. You, stragglers, you go back. Form up again. Soon we'll have chopped this entire forest down, and when that happens, we'll have to fix that wall. Are there any other forests I can afford to... That one looks like a good bet. Okay, we've probably got more than enough resources to advance in the castle age. I forgot to set a gather point for that first archer. Go up there. The Turks actually get something a little better than archers later on, so more farms in the queue, and we're going to need more houses soon. Where's a villager? Why are you not doing anything? You are idiots. As punishment, you will be on house building duty. I made that sound a lot worse than it actually is. You will continue to build houses until I am satisfied. And we're really low on stone when it comes to resources, so I'm going to research the technology that makes stone mining faster, just to help that. And a few more archers. Yeah, like I was saying before, where is my Scout Cavalry? Yeah, if I just press it. There he is. Yeah, you can press full stop, I think, is the idle villager button. You can press comma to select idle military units, and that's actually really useful for fighting Scout Cavalry and the like, if they're not exploring. Wait, I saw something over there. There's an arrow embedded in the ground, which means someone was there. Okay, a couple of you guys, go over there and check out what just happened. Because I'm a little worried. There's something sneaky going on here. Okay, that's a good forest. Right, let's actually get ourselves some... Actually, I want a lot of Scout Cavalry, because cavalry are gonna... these things are gonna become very useful, because once we get into the Castle Age, the Turks have access to something that is actually very cool. Well, not so much access, but like, more like lack of access. It's kind of complicated, I'll explain it in a bit. Ah! A militia! There you are! Thought you could snoop around my town and not get discovered, eh? Well, time to die! There we go, okay, threat of one man neutralized. Any two villages there? Nope, nothing. Right then. I think we're about... Actually, why haven't we got loom yet? Okay. We're about ready to... Well, more than ready to go into the Castle Age. So, let's go ahead and do that. And while we're on our way to the Castle Age, I did not realize how fast a turbo game goes. This is actually kind of cool, just to show you very quickly how You know, I really do not need faster wood chopping at this point. Anyway, more farm queue. Really got to keep attending to that. And anyway, I think it's time to show the Turk technology tree. The Turks, it says here, are a gunpowder civilization. Gunpowder is something that we have not actually talked about yet, and that's part of the reason why I use the Turks here. Because there is one campaign scenario where you get to use them, but it's one that takes place before the invention of gunpowder, and as such they lock you out of using gunpowder units. The Turks without gunpowder, that's roughly the same as, let's say, asking you to play an Advance Wars mission with grit and not letting you use artillery. Yeah. The Turks are heavily based around gunpowder. Their gunpowder units have 25% higher HP, researching gunpowder technologies costs 50% less, and chemistry is free. Now, chemistry is a technology that I'm gonna mention just in a little bit, because it is the crux of all gunpowder related things in this game. Gold miners work fast, so that's probably why I'm getting a lot of gold in. Light cavalry and hussar upgrades are free, and that's why I've been creating a lot of Scout Cavalry. And you will notice this the moment we advance to the Castle Age. What free means is, it doesn't just mean the technology costs nothing. It means that the moment you reach the age where that technology is available, bang! It's automatically researched, instantaneously, free of charge, no need to wait. It is awesome. Basically, this means the moment we hit the Castle Age, you will see our Scout Cavalry immediately turn into Light Cavalry. It's actually kind of awesome. And they get the Hussar upgrade free too. Hussars are the final stage in the Scout Cavalry line, though they were only added in the Conquerors expansion. In Vanilla Age of Kings, they maxed out at Light Cavalry. Their unique unit is the Janissary, which we'll be talking about later once we actually get a castle up. Their unique technology is artillery, which gives range to bombard towers, bombard cannons, and cannon galleons. Those are all gunpowder units. And their team bonus is gunpowder units are created 20% faster. So basically, they're all about the gunpowder. What are gunpowder units? Well, the hand cannoneer here is one of them. The other ones, let me check, are the cannon galleon, which is a ship, which I'm not really going to be showing off very much here. The bombard cannon, which is a very powerful siege unit. And the bombard tower, which is a tower with cannons on it. It's actually a separate upgrade to normal towers, so that's actually kind of interesting. But gunpowder units all have one thing in common. In order to produce any of them, you must have researched this technology right here, chemistry. This comes from the university and is only available in the Imperial Age. Chemistry, as you can see, it lists no cost there because the Turks get it for free. Chemistry gives missile units that aren't gunpowder +1 attack. It makes your archers fire flaming arrows, which is actually pretty cool. It says here, though, required for gunpowder units. You cannot create any gunpowder units without researching this technology first. And because of that, gunpowder units are very powerful, but they require a bit of work to actually get access to them. So that's basically it. Now, in terms of what kinds of units the Turks have, the Turks are a little lacking in the non-gunpowder range department. They don't get the final archer upgrade, they don't even get elite skirmishers, so their anti-archer capability is not that good. They don't get pikemen or halberdiers. They max out at spearmen, which makes their anti-cavalry kinda weak. They get the full swordsman line, but everyone except 2 civilizations gets the full swordsman line, so that's not really a big deal. They don't get the paladin upgrade. Remember I was saying before that very few civilizations actually get paladins? Generally speaking, you can only expect to see paladins from dedicated cavalry civilizations, and the Turks are not one of them. They do, however, get camels. Camels, I said before that generally only Middle Eastern civilizations get camels. The Chinese and I think the Mongols get them too. So, really it's more like Middle Eastern or any Asian civilization except Japan. And I don't think Korea gets them either, but I could be wrong. But anyway, camels are interesting. While the Turks may lack anti-cavalry infantry, camels are an anti-cavalry cavalry, as paradoxically as that sounds. They're basically spearmen but mounted. They're kind of weak and pathetic against anything that isn't cavalry, but they're very effective against cavalry. They have a massive damage bonus against cavalry, so they're kind of cool, and they're also faster than spearmen and the like. They're a little more expensive though. They don't get fast fire ships, but they get most other navy, which is pretty cool. They're lacking on a couple of monastery technologies, but they do get Redemption and Atonement and Theocracy, which are the big ones, so that's pretty cool. Their castle, they have Janissary, which is their unique unit, which I'll be mentioning later. They do not get any upgrades to the catapult line, which is kind of annoying. They do, however, get siege rams, heavy scorpions, and bombard cannons, which more than makes up for it. Bombard cannons are absolutely amazing. I'll be sure to use a few of those when I get the chance. And getting the full ram upgrade is cool. They get everything from the blacksmith, which is very nice. Not a lot of civilizations can claim to have that. And they've got everything from the university except siege engineers. They don't get crop rotation. Crop rotation is actually a really rare technology. Very few civilizations actually get this. They don't have stone shaft mining either, but yeah. So that's pretty much all I'll talk about until the Castle Age, when things get really interesting, especially with the Turks. Watch that Castle Age meter once it maxes out. Just keep an eye on our Scout Cavalry, because they're about to, well, get a bit of a makeover. So, yeah, we'll definitely need to do a lot in the Castle Age. And bang! Our Scout Cavalry are immediately Light Cavalry. That is the power of the Turks getting the Light Cavalry upgrade free. And now it's time for Ye Olde Fact of the Day. Light Cavalry. Light Cavalry are the upgraded form of Scout Cavalry, and we've already seen them before at the end of the William Wallace campaign. I just thought I'd take the time to mention them now. Light Cavalry are much stronger in combat than Scout Cavalry, and that's really their main draw. Scout Cavalry are pretty much totally pathetic in any kind of combat situation, but Light Cavalry, they're actually somewhat decent. Of course, they are a lot weaker than heavy cavalry like knights, but that's really the main point. You see, light cavalry are not really meant for really big head-on major confrontations. In fact, they tend to lose out to infantry more often than not. I mean, as in basic swordsman infantry, and of course spearmen and the like. The main asset of light cavalry is their speed. They're good at reconnaissance too, due to their increased line of sight compared to Scout Cavalry, but by the time you actually get them, scouting is less important as actual combat, and so I'm going to be discussing more about how they're used in combat. Light Cavalry, the main strength of them is they use their speed and agility to close in and attack the enemy's vulnerable units. Things like monks and archers, and also siege weapons. They're very good against siege weapons with their increased speed, leading them to, basically get to grips with the siege engines before they do too much damage. So, light cavalry are more of a utility unit than anything, and they really should not form the main part of any battle line. But various civilizations get good use out of them. The Turks, as you can see in this one, they get the upgrade to light cavalry for free, and they're one of their main cavalry lines, that and camels. Light cavalry are excellent in support of units that really don't like having to deal with archers or siege weapons or monks or things like that, because they're really good against those types of units. Again, they actually get an attack bonus against monks that was added in the Conquerors expansion, and they're also more resistant to conversion than most units are. So they're very good at taking out monks, but also, again, archers, siege weapons, they're good against a whole lot of those. But, yes, as you can see, they're weak against knights and heavier infantry like basic swordsmen. They can usually take them in a one-on-one fight, but the thing is, with light cavalry, if you're micromanaging them properly, those situations should not occur. You should be able to retreat your light cavalry quickly from any situations that pose a threat to them, and get them back on doing the jobs they do best, namely, again, hunting down archers or even harrying villages or things like that. So, yes, light cavalry, speed. Speed is their main asset, and it is what you want to use. Again, don't use them against knights or mass groups of infantry. They're not good for that. They're meant for, again, tactics. Fast, getting to grips with your enemy's vulnerable units before they can retreat into safety, and taking out archers, monks, and siege weapons. The other good thing about light cavalry, though, is they only cost food, which makes them one of the few units that you're able to create if a game goes on long enough that all sources of gold are gone. And believe me, that can happen in longer matches, so yeah, when that happens, light cavalry are pretty much the only cavalry units you'll have access to, and so for that, they're actually quite useful. And with that, I think it's time for the history lesson. As Middle Age armies grew larger and campaigned further afield, the importance of scouting grew. Many civilizations developed light cavalry, an improvement on scout cavalry for this role. Light cavalry were better trained and better equipped for fighting. In battle, they could be used to harass or charge enemy infantry or support their own knights in a charge. Light cavalry wore only partial armor and a shield, and fought most commonly with a spear, even though they don't in this game for some reason. Civilizations that could not afford extensive armor for warriors, such as barbarian groups from the east, put large contingents of light cavalry into the field.